Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, Viksit Bharat 2047, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences, and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today is commemorated as International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation on 6th February. Every year, the theme for this year, 2025, is ending female genital mutilation by 2030. There are over 230 million girls and women alive today who are survivors of FGM and need access to appropriate care services. An estimated 27 million additional girls are at risk of undergoing FGM by 2030 unless action is accelerated. Every year, over 2 million girls are subjected to female genital mutilation before their fifth birthday. Daughters of FGM survivors are at significant higher risk to undergo FGM compared to daughters of women and who have not undergone FGM. The financial cost of healthcare for FGM survivors in USD 1.4 billion every year. Partnerships and alliances are vital to building social movements to end FGM. Today, 1 out of the 3 girls undergo FGM compared to 1 out of 2 girls 30 years ago. However, progress needs to be at least 10 times faster to meet the global target of FGM elimination by 2030. In 2025, more than 4.4 billion girls, or about 12,200 each day, are at risk of female genital mutilation around the world. The estimated health cost for FGM survivors is US dollars 1.4 billion every year. Now, the theme for 2025 is Step Up the Pace, Strengthening Alliances, Building Movements to End FGM. So, female genital mutilation, FGM, comprises of all procedures that involve altering or injuring the female genitalia for non-medical reasons, and it is recognized internationally as a violation of human rights. The health and the integrity of girls and girls who undergo female genital mutilation face short-term complications such as severe pain, shock, excessive bleeding, infections, and difficulty in passing urine, as well as long-term consequences for their sexual and reproductive health and mental health. Although primarily concentrated in 30 countries in Africa and the Middle East, female genital mutilation is an universal issue and is also practiced in some countries in Asia and Latin America. Female genital mutilation continues to persist among populations living in Western Europe, North America, Australia, and New Zealand. Over the last 3 decades, the prevalence of FGM has declined globally. Today, a girl is one-third less likely to undergo FGM than 30 years ago. However, sustaining these achievements in the face of humanitarian crises such as disease outbreaks, climate change, armed conflict, and more could cause a rollback of progress towards achieving gender equality and the elimination of FGM by 2030. More than 200 million girls and women alive today have undergone female genital mutilation. This year, nearly 4.4 million girls will be at risk of the harmful practice. This equates to more than 12,000 cases every day, with 5 years remaining in the decade of action. Our collective actions must be centered around creating environments where girls and women can exercise their power and choice, enjoying full rights to health, education, and safety. And this is possible through investments in initiatives led by survivors of female genital mutilation who are challenging harmful gender and social norms. Their voices and actions can transform the deeply rooted social and gender norms, allowing girls and women to realize their rights and potential in terms of health, education, income, and equality. To promote and eliminate the female genital mutilation, coordinated and systematic efforts are needed, and they engage whole communities and focus on human rights, gender equality, sexual education, and attention to the needs of women and girls who suffer from its consequences. So, the theme for 2025, Step Up the Pace, Strengthening Alliances and Building Movements to End FGM. In 2012, the UN General Assembly designated February 6th as the International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, with the aim to amplify and direct the efforts of the elimination of this practice. Stepping up the pace, strengthening alliances, and building movements to end FGM. More than a decade, the joint program has supported survivors of FGM, prioritizing investments in survival-led initiatives centered around the empowerment, agency, and access to essential services. There is an urgent need for even more targeted, coordinated, and sustained and concentrated efforts if we were to achieve our common goal of ending female genital mutilation by 2030. Every survivor's voice is a call to action, and every choice they make in reclaiming their lives contributes to the global movement to end this harmful practice. Join us every year on 6 February in our call to action. Share the world how you support. Although the practice had been around for more than 1,000 years ago, ending female genital mutilation with this generation is still possible if we accelerate our progress. That is why the United Nations strives for its full elimination by 2030, following the spirit of Sustainable Development Goal number 5. Since 2008, UNFPA jointly, the UNICEF leads the largest global program to accelerate the elimination of female genital mutilation. The joint program currently focuses on 17 countries in Africa and the Middle East and also supports regional and global initiatives. Over the years, the partnership has seen significant achievements. Through the support of the joint program, over 7 million girls and women receive prevention, protection, and care services relative to FGM. Over 550 million people have made public declarations to abandon FGM, and similarly, over 250 million individuals were reached by mass media messaging on FGM. In the last 2 years, close to 12,000 grassroots organizations and 112,000 community and frontline workers have worked to drive the change. As the world rallies to accelerate progress against FGM, understanding what drives change in how people think about the practice and the key is to its elimination. Education is one such driver. Survivors of female genital mutilation possess a unique and powerful voice that can drive meaningful change. Their experiences offer important insights into the challenges faced, the support needed. By sharing their stories, survivors can raise awareness, reduce stigma, and inspire action within communities and among policymakers. Today we have few other national commemorations. Like today is also commemorated at Chopsticks Day in US. Every year on February 6th, you can practically smell the stir fry and steamed rice already. It's because it's getting to be a dinner time. Maybe not immediately, but after some time. A large part of the world population uses chopsticks as their utensils of choice. People in China, because it's the second largest population in the world after India, so have deftly using chopsticks since 1200 BC. So every time you use a chopstick to eat, you engage over 50 different joints and muscles. Not only do you use fingers and wrists, but arms and shoulders too. That's quite the workout. And there's so much more about humble chopstick that the world ought to know. So we Indians use fingers that gives better benefits than any other. So that's why eating with the fingers always motivates the sensory modalities, and 5 sensory modalities, especially essential to stimulate your brain and muscles. So similarly, when you are using fingers with chopsticks, of course, that is when comparatively using fingers is more beneficial. But even when you are using chopsticks, because their culture do not allow them to eat with fingers, so they use chopsticks. So that poses additional challenges and as well as the benefits. So the first chopsticks were made out of bamboo and looked like tweezers because they were joined at the top. They were also known as strong chopsticks, but by the 10th century, the design evolved into 2 separate pieces, and we have come to know today Chinese, most Asian countries, and adults in others use the tong chopsticks as training chopsticks today. Soon, 2 distinct designs emerged. Chinese chopsticks were usually rectangular with blunt ends and around 10 inches long, whereas chopsticks used in Japan were rounded, shorter, and came to a point. So people in English speaking would know these utensils as chopsticks. Chopsticks, a name that came from the expression chop chop, meaning fast food in Chinese Pidgin English. The original Chinese name for them, however, was more character, where they called Queasy or quick little fellows. Today is also commemorated as National Frozen Yogurt in US. So what is frozen yogurt? Yogurt is delicious, creamy treat we all love. Yogurt was first invented over 4,000 years ago in the Middle East and in the Western and in India, in the East. So then slowly made its way across the world over centuries. No, that is curd. But it wasn't until the 1970s the brilliant idea of freezing yogurt and offering a healthier alternative created the taste sensation we love today. Since then, tough tastes have cycled from sweet to sour. Frozen yogurt has secured a place in our desert lexicon. Today is also commemorated as National Lame Duck Day in US on February 6th every year. Observes the 20th Amendment was passed, reducing what's known as Congressional Lame Duck period for the weeks between the congressional elections and their inauguration day. During this time, elected officials on the way out of office tend to have less clout and are just waiting for their term to end. Thus, they are considered lame ducks. There are other types of political lame ducks that also deserve our attention today. In the literal sense, a lame duck is a duck that is unable to keep up with its flock or reach safety on its own. Basically, it is vulnerable to predators and just waiting for the end. The first known use of this term for a person was in the 1700s with reference to stockbroker who had defaulted on his debts. The term made its way to the political world by the 19th century when cited in the Congressional Globe on January 14, 1860. In this political context, lame duck refers to an elected official who is nearing the end of his or her political term and finds they have diminished influence to effectively carry out their responsibilities. Most commonly, we see lame ducks when they have not won re-election on their term limit is expiring and they must leave office. Today, we hear this term most frequently regarding the office of the President of the United States. Thankfully, Congress passed the 20th Amendment in 1933 in order to shorten the lame duck period between election and inauguration. This is why a day has been set aside to observe our lame ducks. It should be a time for a meaningful transition of power. While this does happen, it is not always the case. There have been several congressional and presidential lame duck periods in which the outgoing officials slammed down the last minute legislations, granted multiple pardons, and took politically unpopular actions. It has been argued that the lame duck period should be even shorter given today's technology and speed of business compared to prior centuries, even in the 1900s. Today is also commemorated as National Valentine Shopping Reminder Day in US, remembering to purchase a particular Valentine's Day present in critically. It is a reminder to place your order now for it to arrive on time for the holiday on February 14th. A special last-minute Valentine's Day present that will stand out from the crowd is highlighted on this day. During shopping for Valentine's Day, we choose gifts that meaning for the recipient and meet their expectations. It may not always be materialist. Today is also commemorated as Optimist Day in US, which takes place on first Thursday of February. This year on February 6th, this day focuses on building and sustaining a positive future. Anything can be achieved as long as you stay focused and optimistic. In fact, an optimistic person is more likely to be happy and motivated. On this day, there are also optimist organizations that focus on spreading optimism by giving away to different programs that build leadership skills and creativity. Hence, the day celebrates not only optimism, but also optimist clubs and members who have formed several communities to benefit the youth. Optimist organizations are essential to us as many people are unaware of the talent they possess. And there are also those who need optimist organizations because they don't have the means to pursue their dreams. To promote leadership, talent, and prosperity, the idea of developing such organizations across the globe was formed. These clubs held programs and hosted events to promote leadership and talent. Among the ideas resulting from these events was an Optimist Day formed in 1909 by the Optimist Club of America. The day was supposed to be initially observed on April 1st. The motive was to encourage optimistic thinking among people of all ages and to end the trend of April Fool's Day. But April Fool's Day remained, and the Optimist Day began to celebrate it by clubs across the country on different dates. Today is also commemorated as Pay Compliment Day in US. Every year on February 6th, nothing cheers a person up quite like hearing someone say something nice about you. It's time to return the favor of a Pay Compliment Day, and although we shouldn't need a special day to show our appreciation, most of us need a little nudge. We have often walked away from interactions wishing we had said what was in our hearts. Will it embrace myself? Is it appropriate? All questions that plague what should be a simple articulation of the heart. Let's redeem ourselves on Pay a Compliment. Today is also commemorated as Reclaim Social Day, which is a global movement that takes place on February 6th annually. With its growing negativity on social media, the day presents a chance to raise awareness of its positive aspects. For example, Twitter is widely used to convey news and information during disasters and support rescue operations. It also allows strangers to connect and offer assistance. The day started with Lightful, a tech for good startup that launched a day online campaign to encourage greater kindness on social media to reclaim platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, with which, according to them, they have now become filled with fake news, trolls, and haters. So let's share some of our favorite beneficial uses of social media with the world. You don't have to be a superstar or an influencer to make a difference. Just tell us your story. Reclaim Social Day aims us to bring attention to the positive effects of social media, and you are part of it. See, often a small drop in the ocean is what required. A small effort with consistency, persistence, and perseverance makes a big thing. Every day you just put one drop of water, and that will become an ocean on some day. So never think that just any amount of kindness will go waste, or any kind of effort will go waste. You keep doing your work without expecting anything, and definitely you are going to enjoy the fruits of it one day. So today is also commemorated as Ronald Reagan Day on February 6th. It's time to celebrate one of the most popular presidents in American history. Before serving as the 40th president of the US, he was a Hollywood actor, union leader, and California governor. Reagan's economic policies were nicknamed Reaganomics, which brought out about one of the strongest periods of economic growth in the country. He cuts taxes, decreased social spending, increased military spending, and was also created with the helping of bring a quicker end to Cold War. So started in 2011, Ronald Reagan Day takes place annually on February 6th in the state of California, and is a day to recognize the former governor, and President Ronald Reagan Day has been declared a state holiday in Wisconsin. Governors in 21 states issued proclamation designating February 6th as Ronald Reagan Day. on the 100th anniversary of Reagan's birthday on 2011. Later, in 2013, 40 governors issued proclamations declaring Ronald Reagan Day in their respective states. Raised in a low-income family in Tampico, Illinois, Reagan graduated from Eureka College and worked as a Rapido sports commentator. After moving to California in 1937, he found work as an actor. He later served as Republican governor of California from 1967 to 1975, before becoming the 40th president from 1981 to 1989. Being the president since Willard T. Eisenhower to serve 2 full terms, Reagan began implementing new political and economic initiatives. His supply-side economic policies supported tax reduction to spur economic growth, economic deregulation, and a decrease in government spending. Reagan became a highly influential voice of modern conservatism, and his tenure initiated a realignment towards conservative policies in US. Reagan remains one of the most popular presidents in American history. An assessment of his presidency among historians and the general public places him among the upper tier of American presidents. As president, Reagan brought about a new political and economic era. Reagan, who survived an assassination attempt during the first term as president, died at age 93 after battling Alzheimer's disease. Today is also commemorated as Sami International Day in Norway, which is a cultural celebration for the Sami people. On this day in 1917, the first Sami Congress took place in Trondheim, Norway. The national day is also called Samnes Nationaldagen. The Sami people, or urbanfolkning in Norwegian, are indigenous people who live mainly in Norway, but also in Finland, Russia, Sweden. On February 6, 1970, Northern and Southern Sami people come together for the first time for a joint meeting in Trondheim, Norway. Historically crucial, the common concerns of community were shared and addressed as they worked together to find solutions. The latest statistics estimate that 80,000 Sami people are spread across the 4 countries, 50,000 in Norway and 20,000 in Sweden, 8,000 in Finland and 2,000 in Russia. Sami National Day was created during the proceedings of the 15th Sami Conference in Helsinki in 1992 as a combined minority of 4 countries. Sami people were looked down upon at the point in history. Many laws were forced among them in an attempt to mold them with general population. This led to a need for establishing a dedicated day to appreciate them. The first Sami National Day was observed on February 6, 1993. At the same time, the United Nations proclaimed the opening of the International Year of Indigenous People in Sweden. Today is also commemorated as Time to Talk Day. Draws attention to mental health and importance of reaching out to others. The day aims to help people open up, be honest about mental health without the fear and stigma often attached to the topic. It can be daunting to express personal struggles, and because of this, many people keep everything bottled up. By opening up, the likelihood of the person suffering seeking help increases, which can be crucial to the healing process. On Time to Talk Day help raise awareness about the mental health and to be part of changing the narrative. Although there is still a long way to go in changing perceptions about mental health, the past was much worse, especially for women in Victorian times. Women were considered mentally unwell for any number of reasons that weren't necessarily valid. Some of these reasons for such a diagnosis were postpartum depression, disobedience, and anxiety. In reality, many women were misdiagnosed due to lack of information regarding mental illness and an unfavorable view of women. During the 1880s, people were placed in mental facilities but rarely received the help and they actually needed. When a person entered a mental facility, they were often forgotten about by society. A writer named Nellie Bly wanted to investigate this, so she went undercover inside a mental institution, posing as a mentally ill person. She wrote about the improper treatment she experienced in a series of articles, and as a result, the institution she wrote about was reformed. Today is also commemorated as Tu B'Shvat in Israel, is a Jewish holiday on 15th day of every month of Shevat. This year, Tu B'Shvat falls on February 6 in contemporary Israel. It is an ecological awareness day celebrated by ecologists, children, and anyone who cares for the plants and future of the plant. With the planting of trees, although it's not an official holiday, Jews takes pride in observing a celebration that is dedicated to lifelong. The name Tu B'Shvat has its roots in the Hebrew date of the holiday. Traditionally, the day occurs on the 15th day of Shevat. Tu represents Tet and Vav, Hebrew letters with the numerical value of 9 and 6 respectively, which adds up to 50. Tu B'Shvat is also called as Hamisha Asar B'Shvat or the 15th of Shevat. In the Middle Ages, Tu B'Shvat was celebrated with a feast just like Messianic description. In the 16th century, Rabbi Yitzhak Luria of Safed, who is recognized as the father of modern Kabbalah, invented Tu B'Shvat Seder that gave the fruits and trees of Israel symbolic meaning. He taught his disciples that bringing all things to living things to spiritual perfection could be achieved by eating 10 fruits and drinking 4 cups of while reciting the appropriate blessings in all specific order. So in Israel today, many religious and secular Jews still celebrate the Kabbalistic Tu B'Shvat Seder. In Hasidic communities, some Jews pick up citrus fruits on Sukkot and eat them on Tu B'Shvat. Some pray that they will be worthy of delicious and nutritious fruits on the following Sukkot. Also, more commonly called Israel Arbor Day by the international media organizations that focus on the environment, have adopted the day to promote their awareness. In Israeli kibbutzim, Tu B'Shvat is celebrated as an agricultural holiday. The tree of life is a visual and symbolic representation used in mysticism. It symbolizes the revelation of God, humanity, and human essence. To divinity, Kabbalists developed a full model of reality, a symbol that uses the tree of life to create a map of creation. Those who partake in Tu B'Shvat Seder will eat at least 10 different types of fruits and vegetables. The 7 species in Torah are wheat, barley, grapes, figs, pomegranates, olives, and dates are also traditionally included. So plants can heal hospital patients who sees fresh green trees from their rooms heal faster than those who don't. Found in Utah, the oldest clonal tree cluster, US DNA testing has indicated that the group is about 80,000 years old. The main stalk of banana tree is fibrous and internal water pressure keeps up standing. So banana trees have no root. Nearly 16 billion trees are lost every year due to deforestation and land use. So we are losing a lot of trees. Trees drink plenty of water. Each year a tree can drink about 2,000 liters of natural H2O. So, with rising concerns of deforestation and climate change, Tu Biswath encourages us to plant trees and work collectively for a greener future. Caring for plants, spending time in their company makes us kinder towards other creatures. It teaches us to understand the intrinsic value of all living beings. Studies have shown that surrounding oneself with patience and greenery can beat stress, anxiety, and inculcate positive feelings in us. Celebrating Tu Biswath brings us happiness and health. Today is also commemorated as Waitangi Day in New Zealand, which is celebrated on February 6 to commemorate the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi. The New Zealand's founding document, this day is recognized as a public holiday in New Zealand unless the date falls on a weekend, in which case the Monday is immediately follows becomes a public day. Ceremonies take place at Waitangi and all around the country to commemorate the signing of the treaty. Waitangi Day was officially celebrated in 1934 and 1957. It was proposed as a public holiday by the New Zealand Labour Party in their party manifesto. Later in 1973, legislation was passed to recognize this day as a nationwide public day. However, renaming the date as New Zealand Day drew criticism as it seemed to diminish the treaty. In 1976, the Waitangi Day Act restored the former name and declared it a public day. Today, Waitangi Day is celebrated throughout New Zealand every year on February 6th. The Waitangi Treaty grounds where the document was first signed is a great place to learn about the Treaty of Waitangi any time of the year. So with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. We request everyone to quickly fill up the registration form, which has been shared already. We see that none of you have filled. Maybe it was shared in while the session was going on, not initially as usual. So we request everyone to quickly fill the registration form. Then after 5 minutes, we'll be sharing the feedback form. Daily fill both the forms so that you will be eligible for the certificate. Whenever the certificates are issued, your certificate will be updated. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night. Once you all fill the registration form, let us know. We'll share the feedback.